Championship, there is very little point in making this trek. Out onto the open tracks, as said before, it's not likely to be too spectacular, most of the time on paths such as this. Looking at a ramp now with Stefan Passeri. A fair climb, it's pretty steep, a bit like a one-day trial section. Passeri rockets the bike up through. Jeff Nilsson, the new championship leader in the 125cc class, apparently no problems. Behind him, Edmondson has already dropped back to 4th place in the world because of the number of times he's been off the bike this year, having an unhappy 1992 season. KTM to TM, and only races in Finland these days. Vasama, often enough, it's the locals in these countries who have the hardest problems, and this man is on his own patch here, and yet he's struggling. The people who've never seen the terrain before, the international riders, rock it up. Another Finn in similar problems. It could well be too. Don't forget that a lot of national riders have made up the entry here, so they're not really of the same caliber. I say that in the kindest sense. I have to say they do a lot better than thee or me up there. Lindholm, struggling. So you see, the local riders are just finding it very, very difficult indeed. Next man along will be Grasso, and indeed it is. The Italian world champion designate, maybe. A little bit too easy there, just a bit too casual about that as Feligara storms round. He's doing well here. He hurt his shoulder in England and dropped down the title standings, but look at that, Grasso, almost complacent there. And I think we're going to see Grasso have a rerun at that. Yes, indeed we are. Grasso then phase 2, one dab, cleaning up around there. It is a bit like one-day trial stuff here, isn't it? But it's dry, it's not muddy, there's plenty of grip. And just the edge, lots of torque. The revs dropped, very, very torquey over those rocks at the top, and he teaches the class how to do it. Brilliant as always, Poźledny. Unfortunately for the Czech, always struggling in the face of adversity with sponsorship problems. And what a different story that would be. Dirk von Zitzenvix thinks that maybe he'd get on just a little bit better if he watched one or two of the others. Maybe should study the lines a bit, Dirk, I guess, there. Joko Ores, a motocross and a local favourite. Just can't believe this. I don't get this in motocross, he said. This enduro I thought would be a cakewalk, but not the case. It's a combination of enduro, motocross skill, one-day trials, absolute stamina. And Dick Vixel knows what's going on, but a bad season in 1991. He now only rides in the Swedish Championship, and today was suffering with stomach pains. Probski has taken part for many, many years now, and as a Czech, he should have been good on these dirt track lines like many of his compatriots, but he's still struggling just like a beginner. You would have thought, wouldn't you, that someone with his experience would have had a little bit more know-how. So Franciszek Probski struggling there. It's the rest of the entry. Ample assistance from the spectators. This is obviously one of the main vantage points. The young Mika Marila is fighting hard, but unsuccessfully. Had it not been for the helpful fan who knocked him off, I think he might just have stayed on if the guy hadn't tried to help him. 500 leader Sala then, doing it brilliantly. In the rankings, he's now leading 7 points ahead of Pellegrinelli, who's an old hand at it. Hard to believe that we can have this much problem with the most successful enduro rider of all time, Sven-Erik Jonsson. He's been unlucky this season, had flu and sinusitis in the beginning of the year, and now trails Sala by 31 points. Sven-Erik Jonsson then getting his act together. And And another top man who is slipping down the order is Kent Carlson. He's had a lot of mechanical problems on the Husaberg. Today, no exception. Thank goodness there wasn't a head in that hat. A brilliant performance for John Deacon, the man who's really battled and was in second place in the 350cc championship after a superb ride in Wales. Kotraba thundering up. He's a little bit handy on the throttle. Farioli in the big four-stroke class is 13 points behind the ace, Kari Tiainen, who climbs the hill now. Almost contemptuously, just look at that. Katranak has been knocked out of third place, and he's had technical problems with the Husaberg as well. So maybe the Husaberg factory just a little bit to learn in terms of machine reliability. Well, those were the pictures from one of the special climbs. Now let's have a look at the cross-country test. Test about 3 miles long, fast, and has got all the ingredients of a very, very tough test indeed. Rossi at the beginning of the test. And Rossi's just behind Vrobel. There's Maraglia, the 80cc Kawasaki man. Mikale. World champion Jeff Nilsson next up. Well, Nilsson's a Swede, but based in Italy these days. But I can assure you, he's Swedish, rises out of the saddle there, and he's on target to win again today. Tremendous mental stamina. Edmondson in fourth place at the moment, and if he wants to improve that, he's going to have to get his finger out. The 1990 world champion, not been lucky in 92. Looking to repeat that, and the rumour is he's going to move to 250s next year. Passeri was the world leader until England, and suffers with a case of nerves, I think. Broke a rib as well when he fell off. That doesn't help the confidence. And last year he lost the championship in the last day. Scavolo, a very strong newcomer there. Sylvan, fourth today, and already has been nicknamed the second Tiainen. Well, time will tell. I doubt very much if anyone can be just as quick as Tiainen. Galino, the 125 junior leader, and his times were quick enough to get him world championship points. Eriksson, tomorrow's star on the Swedish horizon, is Galino's worst rival, and he's on target to win the race here. Fossati's talent remains undiscovered, because he's always off the thing, more off it than on, in fact. Sixth today for Fossati. Scandella follows Eriksson home in the junior class, and in third place, the Spaniard, Jose Rovira. One of the few Spanish competitors who's right up there in the running. Klaus, a hopeful junior, a bit of bike damage there, and picked up 1,500 penalty points. Anders Nordstrom, Mr. 110% from Sweden in a tremendous tank slapper over the top, the back end all over the place. And with Borov Jekla, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back very soon. Join us again after the break. Welcome back to Finland for the penultimate round in the 1992 World Championship. We're on the country test with Giorgio Grasso. Grasso on target to win the day, and therefore will finish up 28 points ahead of Feligara. Feligara has problems with his shoulder and is struggling a bit today, to say the least. Koskinen shows us the versatility of this test. A little bit of water, something of everything here. Not too many spectators, however, in the woods. Grunlund is one of the strong Swedish juniors, but an old knee injury hampering him. But second in his class, he's going very well. Giovanni Sala will be up very, very shortly as the rest of the entry files through. Interspersed